So if you are curious, you're watching and you've heard me mention it before, it's available online. You just have to find your little crevice and corner and you can snatch one up right now. Uh, what was that like to create that book? Was it a no-brainer that did you feel compelled to do it? Because it's like a love letter to her.
All right, let's dive into this conversation because of the fascinating blend of nostalgia, royal tension, and a little bit of modern Sussex drama, all tied together by someone who actually lived through the golden era of Princess Diana coverage. The discussion between royal expert Kinsey Schofield and former royal correspondent Charles Ray moves effortlessly from heartfelt memories of Diana to razor-sharp commentary on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's messy relationship with the royal family. It's part royal history.
Um, Compelled to do it. No, it was something that the editor at the time asked me, would I do it? And when I say it was a rush job, I mean it was produced very, very quickly in-house,
Oh,
with great pictures, and obviously a bit of history of Diana. It was for me quite pleasing, to do it, very emotional to do, but I was pleased with the end result. Um, People like me, we tend not to write more than 6 paragraphs or 12 paragraphs for a newspaper, so that was something completely different I'd never done before. But no, thoroughly enjoyed it, and it did reasonably well, so I was quite pleased with that too.
your first experience, yeah, I'd say that's you've hit it out of the ballpark when that's the first time you've been given an opportunity to do something like that, and it was sounds like it was a great experience. I love how you're like, though, it's a rush job. I know I'm going to get the facts from you. I know I'm going to get the truth from you. But I really quickly, before anybody starts commenting on my hair in the chat, my curling iron broke this morning, and I've already been all over eBay to get a new one. So please bear with me. Um, Before we get into the life and legacy of Princess Diana, which you dominate in that space, and I'm so excited to talk to you about it. Another conflict that continues to dominate the current headlines is Prince Harry versus the royal family.
Yeah.
I don't live in the space where I see a reunion happening in September around the Well Child Awards. I'd love to know your opinion about that.
Uh, you, we've all been too long in this game to say never. It could never happen. We just don't know. There was a rumor which emanated from the States that there may be a possibility of a meeting. There was never anything concrete that they were actually going to meet. Now let's deal with some facts first of all. I mean, Harry is flying over here for the Well Child Awards on September the 8th. He's flying 5,500 miles to be in the UK. He's still going to be 500 miles away from the King. The King is not in England. He is in Scotland. He's at Balmoral, where he will be for the rest of the month. The only times that will change is when he flies down here for the odd job. He will be coming back down on the 19th of September for the white tie event for President Trump at Windsor Castle. But it is in and out. He will go back to Balmoral. Now, unless the King is coming down for some cancer treatment, and that may be around the time that Harry's here. The other thing is we don't know, Kinsey, how long is Harry going to be here? He's
Right.
here on September
It's
on the
usually
8th.
blink and you'll miss him. Remember, he just
Yeah,
picked
yeah.
up and left after the coronation.
It's usually 48. He's usually been here for about 48 hours unless it's been the court case. So what we don't know is if there's any time in the schedules of the king um, for a meeting. Now, when people talk about a reunion, I don't see a reunion. If there is anything happening, there may well be a meeting. Because we're now talking about, forget about the king, forget about he's a prince. We're talking about a father and a son who are estranged for a whole variety of reasons. And you've got to ask the question, if they do sit down opposite each other, what are they going to say? How are they going to approach it? Someone's going to have to break the ice and say, I'm sorry. Now, is that going to be the king? I doubt that very much. Is it going to be Harry? Well, he hasn't shown any sign of saying sorry about anything just lately at all. So it's very difficult to work it out, and no one is saying, anything very much. I mean, we had the meeting in London of Harry's people, and one of the
Suspiciously
king.
leaked. I mean, doesn't it concern you that we know about that meeting?
Oh, I am convinced it was leaked from Harry's side. I have no doubt on that whatsoever. I mean, I know the people involved in that story, particularly the photographer. This is not a paparazzi photographer. This is someone who is a newspaper photographer who works on information given to him by his bosses, his news desk, his picture desk. So they knew what was going to happen. They knew where it was going to be. He was there. Now, isn't it incredible? This is supposed to be a top secret meeting, but they sit in the open air for about 5, 10 minutes, long enough for a photographer to click away. I mean, photographers don't need that much, not with motorized cameras and everything else. So, yeah,
Also,
I mean,
and who did it benefit? Prince Harry continues to lose staff at Invictus.
sure,
He's in the last few hours lost someone that important to him at Travelist. He's lost Senabale. He has the African Parks charity scandal that hangs over his head
yeah,
that he
yeah, yeah.
refuses to acknowledge. Meghan,
Part media autopsy and part therapy session for anyone who's ever felt like shouting, "Why can't these people just get along?" at their screen. The chat starts off sweetly enough. Kinsey is fangirling over Charles Ray's book The People's Princess, his early, photo-heavy tribute to Diana. He admits it was a rush job, thrown together at lightning speed, but you can tell he's proud of it. For him, it was emotional to write, a chance to put into words what the public already felt, that Diana wasn't just a royal figure, she was their princess.
what's going on with Meghan? I mean, where do we begin with Meghan Markle, the Miss I Hate Pantyhose? I just feel like the only person that had anything to gain from leaking that meeting is Harry and Meghan because they realize that there is a extreme decline in their popularity because of their lack of proximity to the British royal family lately.
And also, you've got to remember as well that this whatever meeting, if a meeting happens between Harry and the king, it's not just about those two. There are various other people involved in all this as well. There's William, who we know is not keen on any reconciliation whatsoever. So, and that goes for Catherine as well. But of course, we've got the other part of it, which is an even more important part, is Meghan. Now, I'm still of the camp that believes that Meghan will never set foot in this country again. Now, if she doesn't come back to this country, it means that Archie and Lilibet won't come back either, which further gives, more discomfort for the king and not seeing his American grandchildren.
Doesn't wait, I'm sorry to interrupt you and don't forget where you're going with this, but I
Yeah,
just want to say there is a cruelty, and we're going to
sure.
talk about Diana here, but this is a man with cancer that
Yeah,
requires him to fly or to be in London 3 times a month for treatment. We're hearing from the palace that he's going to be quote unquote living with this cancer. Um, there is a cruelty in not making an effort to make sure the king sees his grandchildren. That's I think it's primarily Meghan, but obviously Harry's guilty of it too.
sure.
And we're going to talk about Harry and Meghan shoving Princess Diana 2.0 down our throats in a second. But when people try to tell you and me that Meghan is just like Diana, I know Diana was drama, but I don't think she would have kept her grandbabies away from their grandfather.
No, I don't think so as well. I mean, just going back to the Meghan. So the Meghan factor is very, very important in all this. And of course, you could turn around and say, so you talked about cruelty, which you're absolutely correct. I totally agree with you. But let's not forget there is another grandfather who hasn't seen his grandchildren either. We're all talking about a reunion with the king and everything else. Don't see any signs of any reunion with the other granddad anytime soon. I mean, that's still a problem that's got to be solved. So this is not something that can be solved in one quick meeting between Harry and the King if it goes ahead. It's just impossible.
Doesn't that lead you to believe, though, that there's an ulterior motive in any sort of reconciliation with the royal family, and that ulterior motive is financial?
I think financial is a big motive in all this. You opened up this discussion with their need to be connected to the royal family. Because if you take away the royal family element, if they're just plain Mr. and Mrs. Sussex, who cares, what they do and how they do it and what jams they make and everything else. It's not important. It's just it won't sell anything. So they need that royal connection. But is Meghan going to toe a line? She hasn't made it easy at all to toe any line. I'm not talking about, being subservient or anything like that, but just being nice would be a change for Meghan, to be
It
perfectly.
would. It would be a big change for
Yeah, it would
Meghan.
be a big change.
And Ray's humility about it says a lot. He wasn't trying to write a tell-all or glorify her, just to preserve a moment in history. This sets a tone for the whole conversation, reverent toward Diana, but brutally realistic about the world she lived in, a world Harry and Meghan seemed to be constantly trying and failing to recreate. By the end, you realize what makes this discussion so compelling. It's not just gossip, it's a meditation on authenticity. Charles Ray isn't romanticizing the past. He's just seen enough to know the difference between genuine empathy and calculated branding.
When I was challenged about the reunion, people saying that they really felt like the reunion could happen, I said this is a woman that just went on Bloomberg and complained about not having a voice while she was a working member of the royal family in pantyhose. If there's still that element of the, resentment and bitterness, there's no way that this is a couple that are actively trying to pursue any sort of reconciliation.
Just on that point about that, I never had a voice in the royal family. Well, it didn't stop Diana having a voice. She had a huge voice on a number of issues. Queen Camilla has a huge voice on a number of issues. Catherine has a huge voice on a number of issues. No one's silenced Diana, and certainly no one's even trying to silence the Queen and the Princess of Wales. So this thing about I didn't have a voice in the royal family is absolute codswallop. It's rubbish. I mean, it's just absolute rubbish. I mean,
Amen.
yeah, I mean, the point we've said this before. I was firmly of the belief that when she came into the royal family, this was a good thing for the royal family because it was another couple who could do some good in the royal family, who could do things. Now, she could have found her voice. I mean, this is a woman who's quite shown she has got a voice and she uses it, in all ways. But she could have used her voice for good, just as the other royal women have done. It's never stopped them. Never stopped them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, the idea of this Netflix Christmas special that might, you know, negatively affect in any way or um, lessen the impact that Catherine's Christmas Carol concert will have this year because there will be comparisons really bothers me because Catherine, everything she does is so pure and selfless and has a bigger cause or meaning. And everything Meghan has done over the last few years is commercial, commercial, commercial. And I want to say, can we stop? Can we stop? There's no comparison.
I don't think anything that Megan does, and I don't, well, she can do what she wants. It's entirely up to her. But in terms of the Christmas Carol concert, I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to upset that at all. I mean, it's purely the Princess of Wales is doing it. It'll be broadcast, and maybe not live, but it'll be broadcast here. I'm sure it'll go abroad as well. It's Christmas, and it's all going to be about nice, singing and children and everything else, and Christmas trees and Christmas lights and Christmas decorations. There isn't anything that Megan's could possibly do that could upset that. Nothing at all.
Ugh, trying to sell us jam come Christmas time. Girl, keep your loose fruit spread. Okay, so I want to talk about your experience in covering Princess Diana because that's the character that led me into this entire world. I was a little girl fascinated with this woman. What were your first impressions of Diana? And did you meet her or get to spend a lot of time around her?
Well, let's deal with the first part first. The first time I saw her, yeah, a very beautiful woman. There's no question about that. I mean, she was tall, blonde, long legs. I mean, what was not to like? Um, I think initially I got the impression that She was quite naive about things. There was always complaints from staff that when she went on royal jobs, that she ignored the briefs. You know, they always get briefs about what the job was about, and she ignored them. She didn't really care up until the point that she developed her own interest in the charities, landmines, the Royal Ballet, AIDS. These were things that were very, very important to her. Now, and she learned an awful lot. She did more than study the briefs about these causes. I mean, she was an expert. I mean, quite clearly an expert on landmines and everything else. So this was a she it was like a butterfly developing all the way through, and she came through very, very well. Photographer, you ask any photographer, they believe that Diana was always looking down the camera at them, that she was flirting with the camera. I mean, it's very photogenic. I mean, you
Yeah.
just got to look at any of the pictures. You can never find a picture that showed Diana in a bad light. I mean, she could wear a sackcloth and ashes and she'd still look $1 million. There's no doubt about that. I met her yeah, more than several times. We had lots of conversations about a variety of topics, usually at press receptions.
Diana's magic came from her humanity. She could charm presidents and comfort aid patients in the same breath because both moments mattered to her. Harry and Meghan, on the other hand, seemed to think tragedy and victimhood are marketable identities. But Ray's message is clear. You can't sell sincerity. You either have it or you don't. And maybe that's why the royal family still fascinates people decades after Diana's death. We're still searching for that spark she had, that impossible mix of glamour, vulnerability, and grace. Catherine seems to carry it quietly. Meghan tries to package it and Monet-eyes it. But as Ray says, no one, no matter how polished their PR, can fake what Diana had. Because when the cameras stop flashing and the press packs up, the only thing that endures isn't a headline or the Netflix deal. It's heart. And in the long, dramatic saga of the British monarchy, Diana's heart remains the one no one has ever quite been able to replace.